Liftoff broadcast is now live. Hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us, whether you're on the live broadcast or catching a replay. Your presence and your energy is valuable in either case. I'm just going to share this into the groups, just get the admin out of the way. It'll be a moment, be as quick as I can. Right. There it is. Share to a group. We've got into the Empower You Energy Healing and, of course, Amped as well. Right. So, how is everyone? Right. So, hello to everybody and thank you for joining us. Imagine for a moment having an enlightened, wise, experienced, and loving soul to ask about your greatest challenges. With compassion in his eyes, this loving man then shares knowledge and insights especially crafted for you. Well, now you can have this as your reality. I'm joined today by the creator of Amped. For those not yet familiar with Amped, where have you been? It's a cutting-edge program which entrains your brainwaves to heal on a profound level, allowing you to achieve your mission in this lifetime. To this end, can you imagine just reprogramming your subconscious mind by simply pressing play once per day? Barefoot then takes you on a 6-week journey which will transform your life in the main areas of health, wealth, love, and relationships, not to mention ramping up your abilities to manifest, and who wouldn't want some of that? My star guest is a master healer, a renowned spiritual teacher with clients from all around the globe. He's a best-selling author and has an astonishing 22 books published. It's my pleasure and delight to bring you the mighty Barefoot Doctor, everyone. Hey, Doc, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you. And he sounds like quite a guy, this guy. I want to meet this guy. I want to go to him.
You're too modest.
No, I'll tell you something interesting. You were saying all that. It helped me empathize, imagining that I was somebody about to, meet that guy. And when I was a 5-year-old kid at school, I used to gaze out of the window, a particular window, endlessly until I was told off and told to stop gazing out the window, where I would be talking to or being spoken to by a really kind, wise old guy who wasn't like a ghost or a spirit or anything. He was just this guy that I knew and who knew me and he loved me and cared about me. He was reassuring me, don't worry, kid, it's going to be all right. It will pass quickly, these 18 years, or whatever it is, 13 years at school. It will pass quickly. You'll deal with it. You'll be all right. And he kept reassuring me. And that's what kept me going. I promise you, otherwise I couldn't face the whole idea of it. It was too much for me, It was like going to prison or something. When I was in therapy, studying therapy with R.D. Laing, I used to find myself talking a lot about that 5-year-old kid, because for me, that's opening of school was quite traumatic. I didn't like the teacher. I didn't like the culture. It felt really weird to me, the whole thing. And I kept talking about it and looking through that window from the outside. That was the view I had of the kid I was talking about. And it clicked one day as I was driving past that school on the way to visit my parents one night. Oh, that was me. I was actually talking to my older self. And for sure, I absolutely know it. There's no belief about it. I know that's what happened. My future self, i.e. me now. So I kind of know what it's like. I'm okay. I mean, I'm human. I know the other side of it, you see. But I can understand from a 5-year-old child's perspective, what a lovely man I must be to be around. So I hope to share that with everyone, the nice part.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I can get my head around this now. At one time I'd heard that concept and I was like, huh? But now these years later, I can resonate. That's a beautiful share, Doc. If I can just start off, I've had a lot of people asking me by private message about you and how you're doing health-wise, with reference to those horrible black spider bites. So if you can please update everyone on that.
Yeah, well, firstly, I have to genuinely, deeply, from my heart, say thank you to everybody for sending me your energy and for caring that much. It's really remarkable of you, and I felt it, I feel it. I'm actually doing really well. It's astonishing how long it's a brown recluse spider, not brown widow, I was mistaken, how long it takes for these to heal. I mean, I've never known, I'm used to a wound healing in a few days, done, This thing where it goes on for months is unusual for me. But now it is moving really quickly. It's beautiful. It's like, it's so lovely to see it. The leg's not swelling as much. The bites are getting really So I'm exposing him to the air a lot each day, using Manuka honey as my main thing. And I just started about a week ago. A friend got me a few days ago, actually, a homeopathic remedy of the venom of the ground fleas. And as soon as I started taking that, it accelerated the whole healing so much. It was astonishing. It was immediate. And I don't imagine these things. I'm quite a bit of a cynic, really, when it comes to, yeah, sure. Although I use homeopathy a lot, but, I don't kid myself. And but what I noticed is suddenly my brain came alive, and I realised how much the poison had been rolling through my system and making me go, So it's still doing it, I have to say. At least that's my excuse. But anyway, yeah, I'm feeling great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Nice one. I'm just going to go to the comments section. We've got Tasia saying, "Now you'll be immortal, dear Doc."
Oh, no, don't wish that on me. Can you imagine how samey it would get after a while? Don't wish that on me.
Yeah, it's double-edged, that one, isn't it? Yes. Sabine is saying, "Morning, guys." Morning to you, Sabine. Thank you for joining us. Joan Walker is in the house. Hi, Joan. Thank you for joining us. Diana saying, "Both of you look rosy and well." Fantastic, Danny and Stephen. Well, thank you.
Thank you
very much. Robert is saying, "Hi, guys. Loving you from Australia."
Thank you.
Back to you, Rob. We've got Tasia saying, "Great intro, Danny." Thank you, Tasia. Julia Jenkins saying, "Good morning." Good morning to you, Julia.
Good morning.
The lovely Juliet is saying, "Good morning, lovelies." And good morning.
Good morning, lovely.
And then we've got Colleen, who I'm told is driving in her car, and it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. She's going to an important appointment. So it's got a good few hours drive. So thank you for joining us via audio.
Right. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. So the first question I have for you, Doc, is from Colleen, who's been talking about. She says, "What would you suggest for distractions? Not procrastination, but distraction. For example, you're working on your plan, etc. Then boom, off you go on another tangent, not finishing or possibly losing where you're up to," if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to acknowledge that the antidote to allowing yourself to be distracted is another word with discipline. And when I say discipline, I don't mean like the kind of discipline that we might have experienced from teachers at school when we were kids, which then gave us an aversion to the whole concept of discipline. But the beautiful Zen discipline of the monk or the nun, the willingness to, for me, this is my trick, is to remain in the back part of my body and with my mind in the back part of my brain. That's the hunter-gatherer part of me. Now, when we're back like that inside, we've become the hunter-gatherer, essentially. We're operating from that much deeper, richer intelligence. And when you consider that the hunter-gatherer didn't have time or reason to think about what happened before or what's going to happen in the future, because they weren't growing food. That was agriculture. They weren't doing that. They didn't have to plan ahead. It was just about, am I going to get that animal? Is that animal going to get me? And so on. They had to be a lot more present-centered. When you're present-centered, when you're in the moment, you're doing something important. The natural sense of order will discipline you automatically to finish off that little bit of the plan and make a note to yourself so that you'll remember where you were up to, for example. And then, in a sort of quite mentally hygienic way, go, okay, now go play. And so as long as you can actually put a title to the activity, to that scene, and go, okay, we're going to go and play scene, it's fine. It's when we forget to do the overview and we get lost in the story, that's when that's when distraction becomes a problem. But while you remain back in the back of you, you don't get lost in the story. You're aware of the context more than the content. So you're aware that, okay, now I'm going on a distraction, fun. I'm going to watch myself enjoy that. And then when you've enjoyed that, you go, now, okay, back to doing what I need to do, whatever, something like that.
Yep. And I'm guessing a daily meditation practice will help you to stay.
Good point. Good point. That's the crucial bit. This stuff has to be practiced every day to sink in. So, like, if you were to spend 1 minute only, or 2 minutes, let's be fair, like the Quakers do, they think it's enough. And I rate those guys. So you just sit for 2 minutes in your back, Nothing else. Just be in your back and watch whatever thoughts arise, whatever feelings arise in the front, but don't go in the front with them. Just stay back. Do that for 2 minutes every day. Really, 3 weeks, your life will change completely. I promise you.
Nice one. Thank you. So that one was for you, Colin. Safe trip. This next one, I'm sure a lot of people will sort of prick their ears up for and can resonate with their own version of it. William from the AMP group, he's talking about, he recently went on a course for work, and he said, I have to do a presentation at the end, which will last 45 minutes. My nerves kicked in, and I found it different to manage them. I found it different. I think it means found it difficult to manage them. I used the would I let it go, could I let it go, and then when technique, but he said it didn't really do anything. And his nerves still persisted. So he said, doesn't the doc have any other tricks to combat stage fright, stage nerves?
Yeah. Thank you for asking, William. I love this question because it's something I've done a lot of in my life and probably will do a lot more of. It's this kind of live performance of various kinds. And I did a training called the Great Presence Training. It's an online training, just so you know it's there, where I go into some depth. What the biggest trick I ever learned was that when I'm about to do any kind of public speaking or public event where I'm the MC, rather than think about what they're going to think of me and therefore am I going to do it right, not do it right, that's performance anxiety. I think of what is the gift I intend to impart to them. So no matter what the event is, even if it was a sales and marketing meeting or whatever, I don't know, it could be something that prosaic. I think to myself, what quality do I want to give these people? Forget that it's work, forget the concept that what we're talking about here. What do I want to give them as my fellow humans? And it will be something like love, encouragement, sense of well-being, a sense of everything's all right, we can do this, let's keep going, whatever it is. That I want to instill people with this feeling. And when I hold that in my mind as my mission, that's what I'm here for. The nerves just go away straight away. That performance anxiety dissolves as soon as you focus on the other rather than self. And it's not about being a nice person or saintly. It's just that's really what the job is. I mean, you're not there just to gather words, are you? You're there to, like now, it's not the words I'm saying, it's the love that I want you to feel that's the important part of me. And for Danny, the same.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. And that what you just said shifted things for me, because when I started doing these Facebook Lives and videos and presentations, once I sort of thought, right, this is how I can serve people, how I can show up and give value to people in their lives, and that changed everything. It was like, well, that means it's not about me anymore. Than it lets you off the hook to a large extent.
Yeah.
So nice one. The next one, we've had a couple of similar questions surrounding this, just presented in a different way. So I picked one that sort of encompasses it all. And this one is from Barry, and he states, this is possibly a contentious issue, but where do you sit with climate change, Doc? The reason I ask is, if we apply your Taoism methodology, everything that is good, in this case, machinery and artificial intelligence, etc., the bad, in inverted commas, must be the effect it has on the planet, which incidentally has been screaming at me lately, telling me that the people of the world aren't listening, and the consequences of this will be enormous. You could argue our greed and desire to improve will cost us a civilization. How do we regain the balance? I am aware that this could also be a lost balance within myself that is being shown as the greed of the world pissing me off.
That last comment, Barry, was it Barry? That was a beautifully phrased question, and I could answer this in many different ways, but how I stand with it, a little bit warily and nervously, actually, because, well, I'm aware of the scope of it all, and I hesitate to give voice to it because I don't want to put pictures in the air, but I am really concerned. I have been for 4 decades now. I mean, and it's not something new, and I've been watching it and following this with great depth and for a long time. So I'm aware of the conversation, not just the one that gets in the mainstream media, and it's serious. We're in a serious predicament. I mean, And what I'm surprised about, firstly, is that there's not a single government on the planet, and if any government guys are listening, or you know any government guys, pass the message on, who are talking about starting to at least plan to start moving infrastructure up to higher altitude, because the sea levels are rising. We know that, and they are, and they're going to be rising faster exponentially, because as the ice melts, there's less white to reflect the sunlight back. There's more methane release that's been trapped under there. So the sea level, the melt off from the ground-based ice is increasingly accelerating, and the sea levels are rising. And you need to combine that with storm surges and all the rest of it, everything that humanity depends on for what you were talking about, the great progress that we so enjoy and love and are enamored of. It operates at sea level. Think about it. Banking, the electricity, the oil refinery, the transportation, communication, everything you can possibly think of is at sea level. So let's start moving the stuff up a bit, because at least let's do that. That's the bit that I'm amazed about. Come on, you know what I mean? This is serious. Now, that's only the sea level. There's so many other factors involved that, man, I tell you, we need very strongly now to pray. That's all I can say. Yeah, because I don't know that there's anything much practical. Look, I tell you, there was a group of scientists about 5-6 years ago, I think utterly ingenious guys from MIT, came up with a really simple idea that would work. It was that if all of America, and this is just for America, if all of America painted the road surfaces and the roof of the building white, it would be enough to reflect enough sunlight back to cool the planet down by about a degree. In other words, to get us out of danger. But for some reason, the Obama administration at the time turned it down. I'm sure they had good reasons for it. I don't know what they were. So all the initiatives that we could get into, that we could take, that we need to put energy behind everyone who's doing anything to help. Me, on my little humble way, what I do is help to provide a model for staying sane. And it's a simple, clear, powerful model, and to provide tools for people to be able to kind of get that. That's my bit, because I'm not much good at a lot of other things. I can do that. We each got our thing that we can do. If we each do it, at least we're not wasting time. So even if the thing doesn't make any difference, at least we don't feel like we've just gone negative and nihilistic about it. We've had a good go. Let's keep playing until the shit goes down. And you never know. Miracles happen. Anything could happen. We really don't know. Because for whatever reason, go through a cold patch of space, our orbit around the sun. I don't know, man. Or the sun going around the galaxy, we go through a cooler bit, and everything cools down suddenly. I don't know, but no, we're in trouble. I don't know why I laugh even, but I tell you, when I was in Stromboli, which is a little island near Italy, it's the only place where there's an active volcano spewing constantly. And you'd think it would be quite scary to be in such a seismically active or volcanically active part of the world. Actually, it was weird. When the noise, when that stopped, that's when it got scary. While it was going, it was really kind of nice. It was reassuring. It's a good feeling to know that you're on this thin crust, on this burning, boiling magma, and you're zooming around space on it, rather than the boring old clod of dull, dead Earth, which it isn't, And so for me, natural events, I think, even if they would be considered calamitous, are actually really quite exciting. They're not horrible like man-made events somehow. It's different. But what do I know? I just pray and wish for us to evolve and continue evolving. And somehow or other, we manage to keep the show going. But right now, it ain't going to carry on like it is. It can't. That's for sure. Unfortunately, because it's good fun, but what are you going to do?
Yep. Let's hope for a miracle, the Near Doc. Thanks for that. We've got 21 beautiful viewers online. If you're just tuning in, I'm interviewing the mighty Barefoot Doctor, asking your questions, and he's crafting them especially for you live on this broadcast. Just going to go to the comments section. We've got Deanne saying, this is referring to an earlier question, to get over nerves during presentation skills. Think of what you'd like to give the audience, is reflecting back what you said, Doc. So sense of encouragement, love, etc. Isabel's in the house. Hi, Isabel. Thanks for joining us. Joan says, I've been telling everyone how much you have helped. You might remember, Doc, last time a daughter was struggling with depression and didn't want to be here anymore, and you give some excellent advice, which Joan took on board she's been communicating since. I've been meaning to tell you actually about sharing it with you now. And her daughter's mood has transformed. She's now a happy-go-lucky 15-year-old, I think she is, that's in Norland. And
Wow, that's good. Do you know what I said to you?
yeah, he said to put your hand on her heart and say, "You are alive, you are alive, you are alive."
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? You wouldn't think it would do much, but it does, doesn't it? Yeah, good one.
Yeah,
You know how I learned that one? I was in one of the days I had my practice in London. I was treating an architect from London Transport who dealt with the tunnels underground, and she wanted me to regress her to early childhood, which I did. And she's on the treatment bed thing, and she starts convulsing, and because whatever she was seeing was so traumatic. And I used every trick I could, and I couldn't stop her banging around. It was like The Exorcist, you know. So I phoned my friend Dr. Akos Tatar, who at the time was the guy who's been treating my legs in Hungary, my leg brother, who was at the time in Berlin, his practice in Berlin. Doctor, I've got this woman, I can't stop her convulsing. What do I do? What the fuck do I do? And he goes, just whisper in her ear 3 times. If you can get your hand on her heart, just whisper, "You are alive. You are alive." And I'm thinking, I can't see that's going to do much. I go over to do it, straight away she stops. Thanks, Doc. Yeah, so that's where I learned that. We can thank Dr. Akos Tatar of Budapest for that one. Okay, I'm so happy. I don't want to make light of it. That's great. Yeah. So brilliant.
Yeah. What a lovely anecdote as well. So thanks for sharing that, Joan. Got Isabel saying, I don't want to add to the fire, but the single most effective way we have to start reversing global warming right at this moment is to diminish or stop consuming animal products.
Yes.
Farm industry is the single most active and intense contributor of global deforestation and gas house effect we are dealing with. So just by each of us to reduce our meat, dairy and fish consumption will be helping to solve that issue right now. Yeah.
Well, at the end, anyway, it's good to do that. It's good. One of the issues is that the Chinese, which is a huge nation, have only recently adopted eating beef, and they're really into it. And that's the problem, is that you can't blame people. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were all able to eat beef when we wanted to, so you can understand it. And there's a lot of people addicted to beef now, and it takes a lot of water to make the grain to feed a single cow to produce a few hamburgers. That's the problem. It's not just China; it's everywhere. But it's a lot of people eating a lot of hamburgers. Got to stop. Got to stop.
That's right. So thanks for all your beautiful comments. Keep them coming. Just quick one for Robbie saying, yes, as Isabel is saying, I've heard it said recently, if we as a planet went predominantly to a plant-based economy, veganism, we would reduce greenhouse emissions by more than the entire amount of our oil-based usage, thus saving the planet. Thanks for that, Rob. So moving on, we've got one from Lily. And she says, I like to think I'm pretty tough. She says, I've had 2 kids without any pain management. Wow. She's ridden fast motorbikes, jumped out of an aeroplane, had a root canal work without any anaesthetic. Oh my God.
Wow.
But I have an odd issue. I have a habit of passing out after a stressful situation. I passed out about 20 minutes after having a tattoo when he nicked the vein and I bled a bit. I fell down some stairs last year and wrenched my ankle, then fainted about 5 minutes later. After telling everyone I was fine, I had a little minor surgery last week on my shoulder with some stitches, fully awake and fine, no pain management. Then 5 minutes later, I went pale and dizzy and would have passed out if they hadn't sat me back down and given me tea and biscuits. My chiropractor says it's an overactive vagus nerve, and having researched this, it seems very likely to be the case. So her question after the long-winded explanation is, does the doc know of any meditations or exercise that can strengthen the vagus nerve?
Well, I mean, the vagus nerve is definitely going to be the actual physical mechanism, but on an energetic level, and this is what I think you might find is actually at the cause of it. Because I think the vagus nerve thing is a symptom rather than the cause. It sounds like, and I haven't quite got this one, that your adrenal glands have a delayed reaction because you're very brave. Evidently, you're a really brave person. And you have the experience, so you're able to hold yourself steady and conscious while you go through it. And then once the relief of having gone through it kicks in, some message or other that should have gone earlier kind of comes later, which gets the adrenal glands kicking in after the event, probably with the realization or the memory of it, or even maybe you were suppressing your adrenal glands through it, and that's your way of being brave. I don't really know, but it sounds for sure that 5 minutes later, the adrenals kick in, release a whole mass of cortisol into the system, which will, let me just think. Firstly, I think you'll find your heart will be racing for a moment, and then it will do the opposite, i.e. your blood pressure will go right up and then drop right down, and that's when you faint. I might be wrong. I could well be. I don't know, because I'm seeing you and I'm seeing you do it, but it sounds to me like that. Therefore, what would be required on an energy level would be the kidney energy. This is now the Chinese approach, to be strengthened, and a sense of allowing the adrenal glands a little bit more expression when you're going through traumatic experiences back, so that you're a little bit more aware of what's going on in them. Because I have a feeling you might be repressing that so that you can get through things. So the way that would work, because once you relax the kidney energy in that whole area, that includes the adrenal glands, it gets it all much more at one with you, so you can be cognitively in command of it rather than it wagging your tail, whatever it is. So the way this is really simple. You picture where your kidneys are in the middle lower back, and then you just pile the weight of yourself back into them. You kind of lean yourself into them, which means that you're making your back do that at the back rather than arch. You're is it concave? No, convexing. You're making it round. You're pushing it back. So you're pushing back into your kidneys, and keep doing that, and just very gently raise the top of the breastbone without arching the back, and that gives you a sense of presence and strength and orderliness and in commandness of your field, and it relaxes the kidneys. They enjoy being pushed on. Then let everything go. Just relax them, and maybe say to yourself, "It is my intention that whenever passing through potentially traumatic passages, I will now remain fully in command of what happens in my adrenal glands and what happens with my blood pressure. I will remain cognitively aware of it and in command of it." You just keep repeating that, because then eventually it will be the case. That's the best I can come up with without knowing.
Yeah, very insightful, Doc. I'm sure Lily will get plenty of value out of that answer. Isabel, this one's from Isabel. She's saying, here's a thread. She's saying it's not so much a question, but I think it is a great question. How can we develop our natural abilities to see energy, to feel the meaning behind what we're seeing? So if any aspiring healers out there, or clairvoyance, how did you develop your ability to see energy or perceive it and the meaning behind it?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, with Chinese medicine, you are obliged to, with the Taoist style that I learned, I was obliged to develop what we call the psychic skill. It's not actually psychic, well, it is, but I mean, it means literally of the soul. Psyche is the Greek word for soul. It means that you're operating and connecting with other people on a soul level rather than on the level of the personality. So for a start, as I was saying, if you sit in the back of you, that's where your soul is. That's where the soul is accessed. The soul of life is accessed when you're in your back. Your own soul is in your back. So the soul of others is kind of in their back. I mean, I don't mean it's not in the front, but you find it by going into your back. You come out of personality into the soul, i.e. you're in the psychic realm. Now, when you do that, you're able to dismantle the filter that you usually have running in the conscious mind, which is sort of like where the temples are. You've got this kind of filter that only allows you to see this much of the spectrum and only hear that much of the spectrum of light and sound. Therefore, you're only getting limited amounts of information through the conscious mind. The subconscious, the soul area, it knows everything. If you're standing in front of somebody, you read their whole field, but the conscious mind limits it down to a polite amount that doesn't have you kind of reading their thoughts, if you like. And when you come back and you allow the filters, you literally allow your temples to relax and open out, you can get a much broader range of the spectrum. And at that point, you'll receive messages from the field of whoever or whatever you're kind of looking at. So obviously you have to have integrity with it and not pry, but If it's all done for the good, for healing, for whatever else, it's all fine. You know, things come to you, and then you just got to be quick enough to catch them before the front brain starts messing with them and going, no, it's not that, it's this and that. I had to do Chinese medicine. I got so good at it that when people were coming for treatment, if there was no one there letting them in and I was doing it myself, I could read from the video entry phone, from the side of their face and the way they pressed the button, I could read their whole field if I'd never met them before they even got in the room, like immediately, and then take the pulses, confirmed it was so. Because you can, it's just like bang, instant, there you are, there's all the information. You know. Is that an answer, or am I just showing off? I didn't mean to.
No, that's a fantastic answer. That one's for you, Isabel. No, extremely great advice and insight into how you work as well and how you developed. This one's from Angela Richardson. She's in the Empower You Energy Healing Facebook group. And she's saying, I'm loving these interviews, especially the guided meditations at the end. And she's saying, my question is there a way of dissipating negative emotions before they start to lead to bigger problems such as anxiety and depression?
Yeah, I don't think, though, that, and thank you, I enjoy these too, I love them, I love doing this with them. I don't think that the depression or anxiety starts necessarily with feelings. I think it will start with a thought. There'll be a choice at some level, something going on in the mental processes that makes part of you go, right, that's it, I'm cutting out. I'm not dealing with that. I can't, that's not right. It's not fair, and you cut out of a stream of whatever it is. It's at an unconscious level, though. It won't be at a conscious level, so it's really hard to catch it. That then gives rise to a feeling that you can't put your finger on because you weren't aware of the thought in the first place. It will, I didn't make it clear, it will be to do with childhood associations. Just keep it really simple. If when you were a small child, your mother went out and left you with a babysitter who was cruel and was wearing a particular shade of red, who said something nasty to you when you were a tiny baby that really freaked you out and left an imprint on your psyche, whenever, if you were in a certain set confluence of influences and conditions, and with a propensity for it, if you saw somebody wearing that exact colour, it would trigger without you realising. And then you'd have that thought, you'd apply the thought to what was ever going on, and then there'd be like a spiral would occur. So these thoughts, they come from when we were tiny kids and didn't know any better. That was the reaction, right? I can't do this, I'm not doing it. You know, that thing we cut out. Well, what's the antidote though? The antidote, again, is that you train yourself through daily practice to sit in the back of you. Because the more you do that with your mind in the back of the head, the more you're able to observe these usually unconscious thoughts arising and dissipating. And you catch them, you'll see yourself doing it, and you'll recognize the 4-year-old in you, the 3-year-old, or whatever, acting out. You'll see it in your body posture, and you'll realize that it's not compulsory. It may have been a compulsion, but now it's just an option. It's no longer obligatory. And when you're in the back, you go, well, I don't have to follow that one through. What do I choose instead? Do I want anxiety? Do I want to depress myself? You remember, anxiety and depression are not illnesses. They're habits that we indulge or we engage in and then get lost in. They're not things that come through the air and hit us. You know, we generate them from within. Depression is when we depress ourselves. Anxiety is when we make ourselves afraid of stories we're telling ourselves in our own mind, mistaking them for reality. It's like a second-hand fear. Fear is healthy. All animals have fear. Every animal. You have to be alive. That's beautiful. Fear is part of being alive. You know, you live, you move, you breathe. You're afraid. Great. I'm alive. I've got fear. Of course I have. So what? But anxiety is a sort of toxic fear where we've created a story about feeling afraid. Why are we afraid? Oh, because the bank's going to, the bank account's going to not be, you know, I'm going to lose my money. Oh, or whatever it is. And then we get scared of that story. That's anxiety. Depression usually is, oh, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I give up. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Whatever it is. Hold on, like self-doubt, self-recrimination, regret, guilt, closing down on processes, whatever it is. You depress yourself. You depress the wild animals to go, rah! And just kind of, you know, live it to the full without thinking. So you then have to ask yourself, what do I want? My intention is to feel powerful to feel positive, to feel I can do this, to be loving it, and to be sharing my love with everybody and everyone sharing their love with me. So I'm enjoying the party of being on the planet. That's, for example, that's just one example of what you might want. And okay, that's my intention. Let it happen. And then you carry on from the back of you and it will happen. That's one way. I might be sounding a little bit idealistic. I'm not. This is really practical stuff. It's just that it needs a bit of training, obviously. But try working with that and see if it resonates for you.
I love that, Doc. And, you know, ultimately, like you said, depression is something you're doing to yourself. It's a bad habit. And you can, as you say, if you nip it in the bud, become more aware and practice your daily meditation, you can change it. That's
yeah, definitely. Might I say here, I had just finished creating and starting to put out what I'm calling amped immersives, which the reason I'm saying this is a reason for it. They are sound baths that are based on the frequency design that I use in amped, but without all the everything else. It's just the frequency. So they're like 16 to 21 minutes each, where you put them on. I've done it myself. You put them on in the headphones or have them on in the room, and they create this beautiful, unintrusive, but really powerfully effective sound carpet that you kind of float on, and it just changes constantly without being a musical composition. It's constantly changing like a river flowing, always water, but never the same water. And it moves, and it just seems to cleanse. Well, it doesn't seem to. The way I've used the frequencies is to cleanse you of all these kind of habits, really. And wow, I tell you, it's so good to meditate. So just have on in the room on repeat as like a quiet sound carpet. It changes the atmosphere completely. So just so you know, they are available. Amped immersives, they're called. I've got a special offer until Saturday, actually, on them. On the first three, anyway. Or the first four of them, rather. So you might want to check that out. I don't know. I thought I'd say it. Thank you. I was getting embarrassed after I do one of those, but I had to say it because I'm excited by it.
Yeah, I was going to bring that in at the end. It's obviously December now, the 4th. You might have some Christmas presents to buy, and what a lovely Christmas present to buy for others or for yourself or for both. Remind the viewers what the website is on that they are on, Doc, please.
They're on barefootdoctorworld.com, and it's amped immersives. barefootdoctorworld.com. Amped immersives.
barefootdoctorworld.com. I'll put it across the screen there at the moment. So if you get yourself on there, you'll get some amazing audios which will help to further transform your life, your spiritual growth, and some amazing Christmas present ideas with a special discount on the moment as well. So,
and they make your plants grow better as well.
Great. Just hide that for a moment. I'll put it back on again later. Joy, just go to the comments and says, thank you for both adding Thank you for both adding more sunshine to my morning. I have another background lyric question that's bugging me on the healing track. It's the background distorted repeating phrase that plays during the beautiful inner child track. It sounds a bit like, oh, it missed a face. I saw it missed a face. But I'm sure that's not what it's saying. Thank you, Joy. Can you cast your mind back to that, Doc?
What track is it?
It's do you know the inner child track where you've got that atmospheric guitar and the playful guitar melody? And then she's saying it's.
Oh yeah, hang on, wait. Hang on a minute, I'll get it. I thought it was over. I thought it was all over. Like in other words, I thought I'd blown it. Yeah.
Right.
I think it's something like that. I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact words. It's so embarrassing. Is this just from getting old? I don't know. But I do a lot of stuff. That's my excuse.
You're prolific. You're a force of nature, Doc. You know, with how productive you are and your service to others. That's what it is.
Thank you.
So Isabel saying that was a perspective that hadn't crossed my mind. Awesome. Oh, sorry, awareness expanded. Thank you. Thank you for your comment as well. So, right, I'll just hide that current comment. So how we doing for time? There's a couple of questions from Dion. The first of which is, I actually, I forgot to put it down here, but I've remembered what it was. First one, the first one is, I don't know if she's talking about herself or asking for a friend, so I don't want to make any assumptions, but she's inquiring about when you can't conceive, can't become pregnant, but they've had tests, whoever she's asking for have had tests, and everything is biologically sound and okay, yet they can't conceive. So, do you have any ideas energetically what could be going on? Any tips, guidance, advice, insights, experience of this?
Well, for some reason or other, there was a whole phase of when I was in practice of treating a lot of women for this, a lot. It was like one after another after another. So I've had quite a lot of experience in it. Plus, I was working with the obstetrician gynecologist anyway. So, yeah, I suppose it figures. But I was really doing a lot of those, and it worked. I don't remember the time it didn't work. Like this. What you find is when you're trying to get pregnant, you tend to get quite let's just say obsessive actually about making sure you do it at the right time and that exact moment and all the rest of it, which for a guy is obviously difficult because it's hard to sort of like bring the passion into it at the exact moment. It's difficult for you too because when you're in that thinking mind of like, oh, I need to do this, you're not in the full flow of energy of your body. So what I used to do was two things I got people to do. The first one was to start a dialogue with the spirit of whoever it is you feel is asking you to bridge into the planet. Yeah, and so as the mother, you're actually providing this amazing service of being a bridge to draw someone from the spiritual realm who is not going to be the spirit realm, rather, who's not going to be a baby. They're going to be a full-blown being, and you're saying, yeah, I'm going to bring you in. I'll do it. Come. You're welcome. I'm ready for you. I have the love for you. I'll nurture you. And then start a dialogue going. At first, you might think, oh, yeah, it's just imagining nonsense in my head. But it isn't really. If there's someone coming through, there is someone coming through who you will feel a connection with. And the more you can kind of get that bond generated, the better. But the other thing is, how do I say this in polite language? You've got to, at some point, let go of the rational part of the mind deciding when you make up and just have a really good animal, bout of carnal knowledge together. How about that? I mean, Jesus, I could have done it better, but you've got to come together with full passion and just abandon. It's not even, in my experience, all the people I've helped about making love. Even that's like a sweet way of putting it. It's pure wild animal madness, kind of bestial level doing it. Right? Those are the ones that seem to make the conception happen. Not only, but of course, but that gives it force. It's like the sperm needs the projectile force of a wild animal behind it, rather than a measured, polite, obedient, compliant, cooperative guy trying to fit in with the timetable. Does that make sense? Get the primal thing going if you can, and how you do that. But make it be wild, and that's when and it always works, that combination, somehow or other. Forget about the time of month, just make it happen. And it will happen, it will make itself happen. The baby, the spirit of the person coming through, will somehow engineer things for it to happen. That's how I've seen it work. I pray that it will work for whoever it is that's wanting the baby. What
a fantastic answer. I love that. I didn't know how you were going to sort of approach that answer, and it was just, I was sitting there smiling, thinking, yes. So you heard it here. Beyond, I don't know, like I see if it's for you or for somebody asking for, but get some gusto into the, into the equation. Yes. And another one actually, just seeing, there's this talk of you become the sum of the five people you hang out with most, whether it's be financially, health-wise, success, career, etc. So just seeing, do you consciously choose the people that you hang out with, Doc? And do you subscribe to this belief that you become like a product of your environment energetically? And does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, I mean, I'm very careful about who I spend time with, of course, because I do spend a lot of time on my own because I'm producing a lot of music and I like being in my own company a lot of the time, being creative. That's kind of works for me. So when my time is precious to me, and I'm careful who I spend time with, but I'm not contrived about it. I mean, for me, it's not so much about me. It's more about how do I help here? How do I serve here? And if the Tao brings me to be with one person or another, that's who it's brought me to be. So then I'm there to help as much as possible, not at my own expense, of course. I'm aware that people will influence me, or the outside can influence and does influence me. But when I'm in my back, I'm aware of the big self in me. And that is a much more powerful influence than anything or anyone on the outside. So I then realized, okay, look, if somebody has got a tendency, say it's to be a bit of a gangster or whatever. So when I'm around them, I find myself being a bit of a gangster. I can enjoy that to a point, but then something will kick in quite quickly where it's like, well, do I want to continue being drawn into this kind of mode, or do I stop it now and reverse it and let them come into my, less gangstery realm with me? And that's what I find. Therefore, I'm there to love everybody, make them better, make them feel good about being who they are. Therefore, they start living better and more productively, and so on and so forth. But not as a moralistic thing. It's just I want everyone to thrive. And that might become the mission, in other words. Being filled with that as a responsibility precludes being taken over by the negative, I find, or what you wouldn't want to be. That kind of answer it?
Yep, I'm sure it did. That one was also from Dion as well. Right, sort of coming up to the hour now. I was meditating before we come on live, Doc, and I was asking in my mind what would sort of serve the people who are on live the best, and those who will watch it subsequently. And what came in was abundance. Obviously, it's Christmas time coming up. Everyone wants to feel abundant, where not just money but love and relationships and so on. And I wonder if you could do a visualization to help everyone's abundance to come in, but also with an altruistic spin on things to help those who are having to go to food banks this winter, or who are on the streets without a home due to austerity cuts. So if we could bring the group energy in on that, I'd be really grateful. I think that'd be super to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, relax. Close your eyes if you can, or you don't have to close them. If you want to close them. Take stock. Feel what's going on in your body. Don't change it. Become aware of your breathing. Don't do anything to change it. Just become aware of it. See how you're sitting inside your body. And then ask yourself if you'd like to improve the way you're sitting inside your body. You'll probably say yes. If so, slow your breathing down. Make it a bit more regular. Get a feeling that somebody's lifting your head upwards from the back so that the crown of your head is seeking the sky. And allow that to lengthen your spine. Let the weight of your head and your shoulders and your chest drop into your lower parts. And feel yourself sitting solid on the ground, or standing solid on the ground, or even lying solid on the ground, crouching solid on the ground. And you're feeling grounded. You feel like you have gravitas. You're not slumping because you've got that upward pull on the head, and the counter pull between them is pleasant. Between the upward thrust and the downward sinking, let all the muscles of the body soften up, relax a little bit more. So the back of the neck, the face, around the eyes, the belly, behind the pubic bone, buttocks, the arms, the legs, everywhere, the soles of the feet, arms, anywhere where you're holding on, let go a little bit, so that you feel the energy starting to flow around the system better. Move your sort of differentiate between the front part of your body and the back part of your body. Acknowledge that the front part is where all the activity goes on that's related to being a human being in everyday life. The stories that you tell yourself about the world, the scenarios that you create in your forebrain, and then the feelings that those generate in your belly, and that whole conundrum of being a human being, the whole drama of it goes on in the front of you. So everything that we could ever discuss with anyone about anything all goes on in the front. Behind all of that, in the back of you, is a place of great stillness and quiet, calm, and strength and protection. It feels solid and safe in the back because it is physically protected more than the front, for sure. The back brain is the hunter-gatherer brain, the original brain. It's really a much greater intelligence, much deeper, more profound universal intelligence. It's essentially the subconscious mind, which is all knowing, it's omniscient. Allow yourself to occupy the back part of you. Let the weight of your body transfer into the rear part so that you're gathered around your spine, leaving the front part of you empty and free. And now you see that you're in command of the front part of you. And you're breathing and you're relaxing and you're alive, and it's a beautiful feeling. In the front of your chest, there's the breastbone. Imagine it opening like a pair of sliding doors to reveal in the middle what seems like a cluster of precious jewels, of rubies, of garnets, and amethyst, rose quartz, all the colours of love, shining a beautiful rose gold light out from your heart in all directions, making your field, your local field all around you, feel beautiful and warm, and creating an influence that will be beneficial for everyone who comes near your orbit or in your orbit. Then you become aware that what you focus on grows in material terms. What you focus on with your intention from the psychic level then will grow as a physical phenomenon on the material plane. That's the basis of magic. Therefore, if you focus on what you're afraid of, it's like praying for what you don't want. But we don't want to do that. What we want to do is to focus on what we do want, which in context of it being this silly season and so on, is a greater flow of money without having to do anything different for it. And a less kind of hemorrhaging of expenditure money without having to be tight-fisted about it. In other words, a better kind of balance between the two, but certainly greater flow of abundance in. And not just of money, but of the help of people, the cooperation of people, the support of people, the well wishes of the people around you. So it's the love of the people around you, the attentions of the people around you. It's the whole of what life in the world can bring you, just more of it, more of the goodness of what it can bring you, a greater flow of that. Not just so that you can make yourself feel more plumped up and I'm all right, Jack, but also to inspire and enable you to be generous with your own time, your energy, your resources, to help everyone around you, so that you, and like all of us, can each do the best possible that you could do to alleviate suffering wherever you see it around you. And again, not because you're trying to be a saint, but because by allowing the energy to flow out, it encourages more energy to flow in. And what I want you to see is that you are sitting at the confluence of 5 huge industrial-sized kind of tubes. Like, you know, that you have in water parks, those kind of plastic tubing thing, the big tubes that you can, roll through in a water park. Well, you're at the confluence of 5 of those, and they're gushing what would be water out into a pool of what would be water that you're sitting in the middle of. In fact, you notice that it's more like some kind of strange, otherworldly, mercurial substance, and it's real golden colour. It's got silver in it as well. It's also got beautiful flecks of violet and little bits of emerald green and aqua and a ruby rose colour. And it's got a gorgeous hue, a lovely light emanating from it. And it feels really warm. It's like water, but a lot more refined. It's a more ethereal substance altogether. And it's coming at you from these 5 massive kind of water tube things. And it's filling up this pool that you're sitting in of it. And it's penetrating through your skin. And it's filling up the whole of your body. And it feels really lovely, like warm and fluid, but not messy and like you're going to start leaking or anything. It feels really gorgeous. Every cell of your body is being activated by it. And what it's doing is it's bringing to you the very essence of abundance, of all good things, material resources, opportunities, connections with people, events, situations, conditions, everything that you need to make your life move the next quantum level of beautifulness. So this is what's coming at you, and you're imbibing it. It's in every cell of your body, all the way to your bone marrow. And so you kind of stop for a moment and you realize that from the very bone marrow of your skeleton, the most core level of your physical being, you're radiating, emanating outwards now this beautiful golden energy, this energy of abundance, flecked with gold and with violet and rose and emerald and aqua and all beautiful essences and colors, because this is abundance, pure abundance, and it's radiating from you as much as it's radiating into you, so that everyone who comes in your orbit benefits by being around you, feels better for it. Somehow it sparks off the magic for everybody wherever you go, as a result of which everyone sparks off the magic for you in return, so that you are now sitting in a sphere of intensified, amplified magic of the finest quality, especially for Christmas, so that everything you want comes to you, and it gives you a feeling that it is absolutely beautiful to be alive. And may it be so. If you like the thought of that, all you have to do is go, I agree to that. I agree with all my heart and soul to go with that one in my own way. That's what I agree to. Let the very best occur. And then you allow yourself to, wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes, wriggle your ears and wriggle your nose, flutter your eyelids and come back into the everyday state, feeling refreshed and energized and raring and ready to get on with the next phase of your fabulous adventure.
Wow. It just flows through your doc, I suggest a theme and away you go. I'm sure I thank you on behalf of everyone on this live call. That was beautiful.
You bring it out of me, Danny. That's the whole point. That's how it works. It's synergy. It's synergy. I'm just moving something on the screen. It's synergy. You bring it, and you're such a beautiful guy, and you invite such a lovely conversation. I thank you for providing the space with all my heart. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks everyone for being around here too. Bless you. Thank you so much. Just go to comments before we wrap up. Isabel saying that was truly beautiful. Agreed. Thank you. Kathy was saying, I'm so glad I got back from the vets in time to catch the end of this live, and I will watch the replay too. Joy saying, fab, thank you. I just want to remind everyone, it's, oops. You've forgotten. No, it's my crawler stopped working. Anyway, I had it across the screen before, but stopped now. If you want to learn more about the doc's work, www.barefootdoctorworld.com. It's an amazing website. There's so much value in there. You can sign up for the doc's newsletter, which I recommend. He sends you out value every single week. So much wisdom and transformational stuff. You can learn about AMPT, which we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, and then also the doc's new immersive audios, which would make an amazing Christmas present, not least to help transform your life as well. My schoolmate, Benny Doherty, is saying excellent. Thank you. I'll see you soon, actually. Can we do this again before Christmas, do you think? I want to put you on the spot. I'm up for it, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I must admit, I did kind of build it, seeing this one maybe the last of the year, just because I figured he might be busy, but we could do a Christmas special. Exactly, I'd love to. Yeah, let's organise one more, then we'll do a Christmas special. Good. Well, you heard it here first. This is just spontaneous. Yes, let's do that. Anyway, love to you all. Share this out if you think it'll give other people value. Let this be shown to as many people as possible. Share the love. Love to you all. Bye for now. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, man. Thank you. Bye.